I'd like to welcome everyone to the call. First of all, who am I? For some of you I've never met before, my name's David Guest, and apparently I'm Johan's guest as well, which is double entendre. But I'd like to welcome everyone to today's call. I'm pretty excited about the lineup we've got for today. Our presentation for today is going to be talking about, push the play button, you can't use old thinking to win in today's market. We are in such exciting economic times. It's ridiculous. It's off the charts what's happening right now. You know, here we are thinking COVID's going to be a game changer. And then we have 3 or 4 new major events that have just come out of nowhere to just kibosh COVID. And it's interesting. We live in a world where things are moving so damn quickly that we need to actually keep up with the pace. The new thinking, and all the presenters today are focused on one thing, right? Is how do you win in today's market, and how do you do that in a dynamic way? So how do you change the way that you do business? So this is what we're excited about. This is what I've found. My name is David Guest. I run a group called Outcomes Business Group. Some of you know me. Our mission in life is simple. It's to reinvigorate the business dream. You know, I find too many people that have gone into business for all the right reasons. And can I just get a show of hands for those people who run their own business? Just a quick show of hands. Hey, look at all those hands. Those who work for someone else, anyone there? Yeah, there's a couple of those. How about those who run their own business but wish they worked for someone else? There's got to be a few of those. Yeah, right. Here's my thing, right? When people go into business, they go in for lifestyle choice, they go in for freedom, they go in to make a bucket load of money. But the reality is, for those of you who've been in business for a long time, you know it's almost the opposite of that. And they lose the dream, right? They lose their sight. The people who've been working in business for more than 5 years know that you probably work harder for yourself than you do for anyone else. And the second thing is you'll probably work for nothing if there's no money left over in the bank. Here's what we see, right? The majority of business owners that I talk to, and I've been doing this for 20 years, when I ask them how's business, they say we are flat out, everything's going great guns, you know, and they're busy. They're busy doing the work. They're not in business, they're in busyness, right? And they do their admin after hours, or they do it sort of when they can, and they do very little marketing. And the reason they do very little marketing is they say, we don't need to market because all our work comes from, you guessed it, word of mouth, right? We get referrals, we get word of mouth. We do not need to market. Here's the truth. The reason they do not need to market is because they're stuck in the middle of their business and they cannot handle any more work. They're already working too hard. So if we say, hey, let's turn up the volume and double the business, they go, I can't work 140 hours a week. I'm already doing 70. So they're stuck in their business. Here's what a successful business owner looks like, right? They have operations, they have admin, they have marketing in equal proportions, right? They grow a business that has some sort of level of balance around it. But here's the key element. They are working on it, not in it. Now, for some of us, that is the dream. For some of us, we don't want to do that. And for others of us, we just don't know how to do that. Today, we're going to be talking about strategies, new thinking that is going to get you to where you need to go to be able to strategize your business, to be able to spend more time working on it, and to start building that business of your dreams. So we have 4 presentations today, and we're going to be sort of crunching some great data. So if you've got a pen and paper, you'll be taking some copious notes. We're going to be talking about joint ventures, the $1 million joint venture. So Johan's going to share some insights on that and how you can actually leverage other people's businesses to grow your own. We're going to be rethinking business growth. So we've got Greg, who's going to be talking about how you can actually change the way you look at your business. I'm going to be talking a bit about creating what's called an adaption plan, which is the plan to adapt your business. And then last but not least, we're going to be talking about time mindset versus time management, because what I've found is people who think they can manage time are kidding themselves, right? Time is fixed, right? It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not how much time you have, it's what you do with it. So we've got the expert on time management, Ildi, who's going to be talking about that. So 4 powerful presentations. We're going to do some breakout rooms so you can do some networking and meet some new people. And we're going to get a lot out of the next couple of hours together. So let's get this show underway. I'd like to introduce our first presenter. Some of you already know Johan. If you don't know him, you're about to meet one of the most dynamic, interesting people I've met in many, many years. So Johan, welcome to the call.
Thank you for having me. Unmute myself. I think I'm unmuted.
You're unmuted.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, David. Cool. So, all right, guys, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen. Give me a little thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to talk today about the $1 million joint venture. I want to talk about the step-by-step framework that we've used to exponentially grow our business and that of other businesses. We use these exact strategies to grow a business, one that I just sold, from 0 to 20 million in 4 years. So please pay attention. It's really, really cool. My belief system in my head is always that you are one deal away. That one deal can literally change the trajectory of your life. And I wake up every morning just saying, who can I serve? And with that mindset, like I'm just trying to help as many people as I can. And that's how these opportunities for joint ventures come about all day, every day. So in my presentations, there's 4 things that I always cover, which is how to generate more leads, how to generate more time, how to utilize your time, and how to make more profit and create more impact. Who's heard of Jay Abraham before? So when I first started my business, yes, awesome, Grant. When I first started my business, I remember cracking 200 grand, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I made $200,000. And then I went, okay, but I'm stuck. How do I increase this? I read his book, and his book was, I think it was getting everything out of what you've got, something along those lines. You can look it up. But basically he said, hey, can you increase your clients by 10%? I was like, yeah, easy. Digital marketing agency, 20%, 33%, easy. 33 more clients in a year. Hell yeah, we could do that. Could we increase the average transaction value? Yes, very easy. And could we get them to buy more frequently? The answer was yes. We made these small little tweaks, and we went from $200,000 to $500,000. And it didn't really impact our business in terms of operations at all. So I went, oh my God, now I understand leverage and scale, and using these small little tweaks in these 3 different areas. So now every time I go into a business, these are the 3 things that I'm always thinking about. Now, when it comes time to build a business, you're all in business. How long did it take you to build $1 million business, to build a $5 million business? Some of you are $10 million businesses. It takes a long time, and some people never get to 20, 100. The statistics get lower as you get, as the numbers get higher. But how long does it take to put together a joint venture? Not that long. And today I'll be showing you exactly how we set up a joint venture in 2 weeks, which racked in $1 million, which is far easier than building it in your business, right? So in a joint venture, there's 3 players. There's a host who's got everything, all the infrastructure, a facilitator, which in this case is me or you, and then a partner who's got the database who can then service that host, who can bring more business to that host. Some quick little reasons why joint ventures work. 1, having you do all the setup and work is attractive for hosts and partners. If I came up to any of you and said, hey, David, I'm going to spend a little bit of time in your business. I'm going to understand exactly what you do. I'm going to craft an amazing offer, and then I'm going to present it to my people and just bring sales in for you. No one in this room is going to say no. They're going to be like, yes, please bring me more sales. They uncover hidden profit centers. So my business partner, Chris, is here. Chris had a business, well, has a business. It's called the Australian Energy Initiative, and he was selling hot water systems. And then he realized he's got this amazing database, and he could sell LED systems. He could sell replacement shower heads, that sort of thing. So it uncovers hidden profit centers, which you didn't think of before. Every traditional business is time and resource poor. I see too many business owners working 16-hour days. They work on the weekends, etc., especially when you're young and you haven't got the foundations right. So joint ventures are a godsend when it comes to that. Basically, as a facilitator, you help business owners capitalize on the assets with very little cost or risk to them, as opposed to working with a consulting agency or a big, KPMG who come in and give you these big plans but don't actually do any of the work. At the end of the day, business owners want work to be done. So they make businesses more profitable, and it makes the owner's life much easier. They're a new source of sales that do not take away from everyday sales, so it doesn't interrupt your business. It's a win-win-win for all 3 parties involved, and they're a shortcut to bringing new products to market. This system is extremely simple. So we call it the ticket conductor method. 1, we locate a company that has a product or service with a track record that's proven, that is an amazing product that people want. And step 2, well, step 1.5, you find a complementary company that has a large database and a loyal client list. And I'll go into that in a second. And step 2 of that is you joint venture broker between these 2 people. You bring them to the table. You say, hey guys, this is what you have. This is what you have. How about we do a deal together? Here's the terms. Let's get going. And I'll show you an example of one that we put together just last week, which all of you guys are going to be pretty excited about. And then step 3, rinse and repeat. This is something that you can do all day long. A little word of caution. This system doesn't work with mom and pop stores or businesses that are small. When I say businesses that are small, anything less than $2 million in revenue, they don't have the right systems in place. So we don't work with those guys, because if I sent 1,000 leads to them today, they would fall over. They don't have the right systems in place, right? So keep it simple, stupid. That's what the KISS method is. It's a very simple but powerful formula. I mean, you looked at it just before. It's 3 steps. We only ever work with proven products and services and proven customer lists that are hungry. And we offer those services to these people, and we capitalize on the opportunity really quickly. It literally takes less than a week to put these things together. So why is this really important? Because if we work with people who are organized, who have the infrastructure, we know that they have the resources to take swift action. We all profit much sooner than we would if we were trying to build a list from scratch, running Facebook ads and Google with something that's not proven. You're wasting too much time, you're wasting too much money. So it's very low risk for every party involved in this play. Now, what are the expenses with a joint venture? Simple. Think about the expenses with your current business. Joint ventures have very little out-of-pocket expenses. The hosts pay for all the costs to manufacture the product, to deliver the product, customer service. You don't have to invest in infrastructure, list building, product creation, fulfilling the orders, customer service, anything like that. So it's very, very easy. Now, there's a concept of control versus ownership. If I came into a business, or if somebody came into my business, I have built that business. I own the business. I own the infrastructure. It's taken me decades to create that infrastructure and the people and the team. Whereas when you do a joint venture, you're basically getting control just for a little bit to create that profit center for them, and everybody wins. So it's so much fun, because we've got companies that are doing millions and some are doing billions, who give us control of their assets for a short period of time so that we can utilize it and create profit for them. And I'll go into the example so that you understand a bit more. So guys, that's a little bit of the theory of how it all works. Are you ready for that $1 million example? Yes? Give me some thumbs ups. I'm gonna have a quick break. The art of the $1 million deal. So this is somebody in our community. We're gonna call them the deal maker. They go to a health club. The health club is spending money on advertising. The advertising sucks. So he says, hey, you've got this advertising, but I know it's not working. Here's an invoice of $10,000 from the local printer. I want you to pay this, and it's going to generate 20,000 coupons. I'm going to then go and distribute these coupons to the right people, get 20,000 new members into your gym. And for that, I want 10% recurring of what they spend with you for the next 5 years. Is it a good deal? These guys were spending 50 grand a month. So 10,000 was not, out of their budget. And they were like, yeah, easy. The deal maker then goes to the clothing stores that sold gym clothing, and they're a retailer of gym clothing. And he sold these vouchers to them for $2 a voucher. Remember, it cost 50 cents. He's already made $30,000 profit. He sold them the voucher saying, hey, here's a voucher of $99 at that local gym over there. When your people, the average they spend is 150. When they spend more than 200, you can give them this voucher. So they're getting the clients to spend more money. Remember the 3 things. The clothing store gets more clients. The clients are spending more than $200. The health club, they're getting the vouchers. And when people come in there, they're also bringing their friends. So word of mouth increases. So multiple purchases are happening. The health club's really happy. 20,000 leads, 0 cost in extra advertising. 6 months later, they did the analysis. The health club closed 4,000 new memberships at $200 a year, of which it equated to $800,000 in profit. And the deal maker walked away with $80,000 recurring for the next 5 years. 2 weeks to put this entire system together. So it's pretty simple when you think about it. And it's an irresistible offer to all parties involved. So I want to share with you a quick little joint venture that we did just recently. It's with a hotel group. So the hotel group has 4-star, most of them are 5-star hotels around the world. You get 8 days, 7 nights in Bali, Koh Samui, Phuket, 6 days in Mexico, there's Fiji, USA, Europe, there's hundreds of hotels all around, and they have low occupancy because of, well, the pandemic. And so we said, hey, can we get people into your hotels? You basically are charging us nothing. And they're going to come, they're going to have, massages, they're going to come and eat, they're going to come spend money at the bar. So that's why we want to do this deal. And they said yes. So they did the deal with us for $97 per person for, hey, in Koh Samui or Bali, 8 nights. Like you literally can't buy dinner for that price, right? So it's a pretty damn good deal. It's an irresistible offer. Oh, and all over Australia and New Zealand as well. So we're buying something just because we like to just go, stay in different hotels. And the hotels are not like some dingy little hotel. They are, the Grand Pacific, the Mercure, the Hyatt, Atrium Hotel. So they're all, when I say really good hotels, they're really good hotels. But again, occupancy rate is low. That's why they're doing these deals, because they need to get people in there to spend the money. So the 3 ways to grow a business: increase in the number of clients. We're using it at Comet Suite. Every time somebody signs up, we're giving them a $1,000 voucher. All of you who are Comet Suite people, you will be getting a $1,000 voucher for being part of Comet Suite. Increase average transaction value. When we upgrade them, we give them another $1,000 voucher. Increase the frequency of purchase. Every one of our referral partners who's sending us business, we give them the vouchers. Now, this is just, it creates more incentive. It's much easier to give somebody a $1,000 voucher than say, hey, I'm going to give you 10% off, because 10% off, they don't really care that much. But when you say, hey, I'm giving you 8 days in Bali, they're like, oh, wow, that's incredible. So right now we're running it. If you want to get access to these vouchers, because you're part of our community, we give you all the deals that we get access to. You can head over to Comet Perks, and you can get these things for $29.50 per voucher. So that's 100 vouchers for $3,000. You can give these out to all your clients. Think about how you can close more deals by giving out $1,000 vouchers to these amazing hotels to your clients to close deals, to get them to upgrade, to get them to refer more business. As David said at the start, most people, their business comes from referral, word of mouth. How can you incentivize them to get you more word of mouth? So guys, that's a cool little deal that we've done for you. If you want, jump on it. Joint ventures, I think that they're an essential part of business. I'm switching back to the presentation. They bring in quick cash flow when you do a good joint venture. There's not that many moving parts. As you saw, we've already done a deal. This is going to go out to you guys, to our communities, etc. High profit to time ratio. It's an essential strategy to open up new markets. Those guys don't get access to business owners like that. They want you to buy these vouchers, because then you're going to buy it for all of your clients, and your clients will go, hey, wow, this is awesome. Keep buying more stuff. With your business, there's consistent cash flow. It allows you to grow exponentially. There's more moving parts in your business, but once you set it up right, it's autonomous, it's leverageable, it's saleable and scalable, and it helps you leave your legacy. That's why you're in business. So I'm in no way saying don't run a business. I'm saying you have to run them together. Joint ventures increase the fun, which allows you to leave a great legacy, and they increase your cash flow into your business, which funds your legacy. So guys, that's pretty much the end of my presentation. If you'd like those vouchers, jump into cometperks.com and breakout rooms. I'd like you to think about how you can give away a free holiday worth $1,000 to your clients so that they can buy more from you. All right, David, back over to you. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Let's give Johan an awesome round of applause. This is amazing, right? Because what Johan didn't mention is today, us getting together is also a joint venture. There is so many different ways you can leverage your business. And I often say to people, your database, your business is a goose, and it lays golden eggs. And you can sell your product, but you can use your database to engage with other partners. So the 4 people that are here today are all doing this as a joint venture. So I want you to think about this. We're going to go into some breakout rooms in a moment. You're going to meet some people, some you may never have met before. And during the breakout room, I want you to talk about 2 things. Obviously, who you are, what you do, what you got out of Johan's presentation, what were the key takeaways. But I want you to think about who could be your joint venture partners. I want you to share in the room who you're looking for, who you believe you can joint venture with, because it starts with a thought. So we're going to go into breakout rooms. We're going to put you in the groups of 5. How are we going, Eugene? We're setting up the groups.
Yeah, looking good, Dave.
Looking good. We're going to put you in there for 5 minutes. You're going to meet some new people. Make sure you introduce yourself, say good day. Each person gets 1 minute each to talk about who they are, what they got out of the last presentation, and who they're looking for joint venture. And we'll see you back here in 5 minutes. So on the count of 3, take a deep breath, and we're going in. 1, 2, 3, and join. Welcome back, guys. We are not stopping here. Our next presenter has probably got as much experience as anybody has in building businesses. Greg Roworth, who I've known for many years now, is a very, very highly skilled business systems and I'm not sure how to describe exactly what he does. I'm sure he's going to do a 10 times better job. But when it comes to rethinking how to grow your business and the new path to more clients, more profits, and more freedom. I don't think anyone else has got as much experience as Greg has. So let's get Greg on the call. You there, Greg?
Yeah, thanks, David. And probably a business growth strategist is how I would call myself. So let me share my screen. Oh, what's happening here? Okay, I'm getting a strange message here. We'll see what happens.
I'll stop sending you naughty pictures, David. Not David, Greg.
All right. Hopefully everyone can see my screen with me there over the middle talking about rethinking business growth, which is all about the new path to more clients, more profit, and more freedom in your business. So what that means is that really, if you think about it, and what I'm going to be speaking about today is thinking differently about how to grow your business, because really you can't grow a business with the same old thinking you've always had. You can't keep doing the same old things and expect different results. So thinking differently about business growth is important. And I'm assuming as you're on this call today that you're interested in growing your business, but I'm not going to be talking about the normal growth path, maybe 10% growth per year. What I'm talking about is really a disruptive approach to business growth in the same way that Tony Hsieh from Zappos, the shoe company, or formerly as they started out selling shoes online, Tony Hsieh in the year 2000 was running a business that was struggling with about a $1.6 million turnover. He rethought the way they approached business and turned that business into $1 billion revenue business in the year 2008. So that's the type of business growth that I'm talking about. And giving you the ability to do what Tony Hsieh did, which was selling his business to Amazon for over $1 billion. So maybe put a Y in the chat box if you're interested in how to grow your business significantly and disruptively like that. Let me see if we're in the right room here. Great, thank you. I can see a lot of people wanting that. So first of all, why listen to me? As David said, I'm an experienced business coach. Thanks for putting that so politely, David. Some people might say old, but really over the last 40 years, I've started, grown and sold 5 businesses of my own. And the last 3 of those businesses have been in the business consulting space. And now, since I sold my last business 3 years ago, I work specifically with owners of business consulting firms, IT firms, and business coaches who are wanting to grow a business that they can sell. But really the backstory behind that is, success didn't come easy for me. About 25 years ago, I had, it was about 2 years into my first consultancy business. And at that time we had a record month sales. And, while that was good on the surface, underneath the surface, things were pretty stressful in my business. All of those sales in that record month were down to me through my own personal efforts. And I had a small team of consultants and a couple of support staff working with me, but the work they did for our clients in delivering our services wasn't really up to the standard that I really wanted from the consultants. So a lot of, that required a lot of my involvement with our clients as well. So as you can imagine, that was pretty stressful. And I was working long hours in the business to make all the parts work together and to keep our clients happy. So as you can imagine, that put strain on not just my personal ability to do the work, but stress on my family. It affected my family, affected my health, and was really a challenging time in the business. But that really everything came to a crunch when we had a family health emergency, and that required me taking 6 weeks off work. And despite the reassurances from my team that, who were saying, don't worry about it, we'll look after the business, we've got your back, which was great to hear, and nice to go away from with that thought in mind. But when I got back, over that 6 weeks, we had gained exactly 0 new clients. We also had a cash flow issue that was pretty difficult to manage. And I had to make some really difficult decisions just to be able to survive in the business. So that meant that I had to make some decisions and rethink how I was running my business to run it effectively. And what I discovered as I was rethinking how to work effectively in the business was that I was really trapped in the center of my business. Every decision required something from me. As we grew, every new employee demanded more of me. So I had created a business that was totally dependent on me. And what I've discovered since then is that most small to medium-sized businesses really operate in the same way. The owner builds a business that is totally dependent on them. And what I've discovered is that reality and situation is really reflected in the concept that was developed by Robert Kiyosaki in his book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about 2 different types of people, the rich and the poor. And you probably recognize those. Now, on the poor side of the equation, he talks about people leaving school and getting a job, and they become employees to earn an income. But some people have greater aspirations and move out of that situation and become self-employed. They start their own business, but really they start that business with the same employee mindset, and they end up working hard for the business. On the rich side of the equation, he talks about people having an investor mindset. And that investor mindset is all about making money work for you. So when an investor starts their business, they do it in an entirely different way from the self-employed person. They set up a business that, with the intention of building the business into a system so that the business works for you as the business owner. So really, the change in mindset that we need to create for ourselves is to change from being or having that employee mindset where we're working hard for our business to having that investor mindset where we're creating a business that works hard for us. Now, when I look at how businesses grow, my experience is that there are really 4 levels of growth. When we start our business, we basically enter an occupation. We're working on our skill set, the things that we're good at, and we start our business in that occupation. But typically it's a struggle. And the struggle is first to get enough clients or customers to pay the bills and to keep the business growing. But as we're good at what we do, we get referrals, and we go to networking meetings to find more clients. So we start to build a business and we start to employ other people. And we change from that occupation into running a real business where we become the business operator. And as we struggle to find the strategy to find more clients consistently and predictably and build a structure in the business that means we can delegate more of our work to our people, we reach a level of survival. But the real critical point here is that unless you change your thinking from being that struggling business operator to becoming the business orchestrator, where you can reach a level of scalability by having the right systems in place that mean that your people can do the work that you used to do and maybe do it even better than you, so that you can have a scalable business and ultimately reach that level of supremacy where you become the overseer in a saleable business. That's the ultimate goal that we want. But what I find is that most people get trapped in that operator level because they don't really change their thinking to become the orchestrator rather than the struggling operator. So you need to be looking at is, as David referred to earlier, taking yourself out of the center of your business and being able to work on your business rather than in the business. So creating a business that frees you from the shackles of tying you into every decision and every level of operation around that business. So how do you create a business that works for you so that you don't have to? And really that's about, first of all, that fundamental change of thinking about being the investor rather than the employee, but then moving on to think differently about the two universal drivers of business success, which is first, improving business processes, which is about how do we improve the way we do things for our clients? How do we produce products or services more effectively, more efficiently? And secondly, improving client acquisition, which is about how do we get better at attracting our ideal clients consistently and predictably. So the level of thinking here that we typically see from business owners is tactical thinking. Now, tactical thinking is great. We can definitely improve how we do business in a tactical thinking way. We can get more efficient at how we do things. We can improve things dramatically by tactical thinking. But unless you move to the level of strategic thinking, where you can create disruptive improvements, you'll never really make that advance. You'll always be in that competitive space with everyone fighting against each other, trying to make small incremental improvements. But strategic thinking will help you create that disruptive improvement like Uber, like Airbnb, like Apple, like Amazon, to name a few, where they really shift the market and make their competitors almost irrelevant, make their competitors unable to compete with what they do. Then if we move on to the second level of client acquisition, tactical thinking tends to be the way we think again. And, as in a smaller business, we're hunting for clients typically, and that's the regular thing that we're doing. So, like this guy here who's, looking for the fields where he can hunt the butterflies, it's hard work. Typically, a lot of our time and investment is from ourselves, and we invest ourselves in that and don't get a very good ROI on that investment unless we change again to strategic thinking. So with strategic thinking, we think rather than hunting for clients about how can we attract our clients and make it child's play. So instead of looking at being a hunter, turn your business into a garden. Look at how you can till the soil, fertilize it, plant the plants, water them, make them flourish so that when the springtime comes, you attract your ideal clients in swarms. So those are the levels of thinking, just to give you a bit of a different way to look at things and see how your business can grow by a different approach to the way you're doing things at the moment. So if you're willing and have the courage to change your thinking, to stop being that struggling operator to becoming the thriving orchestrator in your business, then we have a process at Business Flight Path that we take our clients on to take them from that position of struggle to the position of saleability in the business. And the first part of that process is around the strategic attraction system, which is about developing strategic authority in your business, positioning you as the authority in the market. Then that gives you the foundation to move on to scalable autonomy, which is about building the culture, the systems, the structure in your business so that you get to that level of scalable ascendancy. So if you're ready to take the first step on this process, what I recommend is that you download the ebook here, the 7 keys to building a thriving professional practice you could sell. Now, even though this is written for professional practices, the principles in it really apply to any business. So scan that QR code or click on the link that Eugene's put in the chat, and the book will really give you much more in-depth detail about advancing on from where I've talked today, and specifically talking about the 5 critical mistakes that most small business owners make in trying to grow the business, so how you can avoid those, and then the 7-step process that you can use to take your business from that struggling operator level to the thriving orchestrator level. So thanks for sharing the time with me today. I hope I've provided you some good value and changed the way that you think about your business so that you can really grow your business at that disruptive level. Thanks, David.
Awesome. Let's give Greg a nice round of applause. I think we live in a world where there's a lot of information. We're in an information overload. And when you come across someone who's got track record and resilience and been doing something for a long time, you know they're doing something right. I'm going to make some suggestions to you. That there's 2 people so far that we've put on the stage, and both of them are experts in their fields. Johan just knows how to get these joint venture things happening, and $29 holiday sounds awesome to me. I might buy just 10 for myself. With Greg, his process that he has evolved over time he's put a lot of critical thinking into it. So if you grab his ebook, it's going to sort of outline the elements. And all I'm looking for when I get this information is, where are the gaps in my own business? Because often people go, oh, I've got this sort of stuff happening, I've heard this before. And I get that, right? Because I've been doing this for 20 years myself. And sometimes you just get one little nugget that changes the way that you do business in the future. So grab the download. Make sure you have a read of Greg's book. If you want to reach out to him, I think the contact details will be in there, and see if he can help you. We're going to move into some more breakout rooms, because I know with Zoom, people get Zoom fatigue from staring at a screen for too long. So you need to meet some people. And the interesting part about Zoom is you meet people from all over the world and you don't even know. So during this breakout, not only are you going to introduce yourself, but you're going to talk about where you're from or where you are. And what did you get out of Greg's presentation? So what was the one key takeaway that you can actually utilize today in your business to change things? So let's go into those breakout rooms. Eugene, how are we tracking?
Yep, good to go.
Ready to go on the count of 3. Take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Join. Alrighty, so we're halfway through. We've got 2 more presentations. We're going to smash through them. The next one is me, so I'm not going to introduce myself too much. I'm just going to explain. Those people who don't know who I am, David Guest, as I mentioned at the start, been doing this for about 20 years. I love these events, right? Because people like Greg, I've known for many years, and we've gone on different trajectories. We sell similar sort of philosophies, but done in different ways, and people resonate with different people. And so when we talk about what I'm going to be talking about today, I'm going to be talking about how you create what I call the business adaption plan. Now, the reason behind this is I find people are looking for a business plan. And here's an interesting thing, and I'd just like to do this by show of hands. How many people have got a business plan right now? Can I just have a quick show of hands for those guys? Okay. So we've got probably less than half of the people on this call have a business plan, which astounds me, right? Because if I went to a builder and I said, I want you to build me a house, the first thing he'd say to me is, I can't start building until we define the plan. And I'd say, well, don't worry about the plan. Let's just get started. And everyone would think I was nuts. Right? In business, you can run a business without a plan, and there's no legal requirement to have the plan. So people say, don't worry about the plan. Let's just get started. And in business, that's okay. But in building, that's illegal. Right? So here's my thought, right? If you do not have a business plan right now and you're running a business, you ain't running a business at all, right? You're surviving, right? You are probably self-employed, you've got a job and you're trying to make ends meet, and you've got some plan in your head that you think is valid, and it keeps changing as the weather changes. Get a plan sorted. Now, how you do your business planning is up to you. There's a million different ways. And I will suggest it's not about having a plan. It's about having a planning process. So I'm going to talk a bit about how we do that today. There's 3 phases in a business that I see, right? The first one is chaos, right? And that typically means you are just running from pillar to post, trying to make ends meet, trying to get things done, and your day is full of stuff, right? And you're in chaos because you start the day with a to-do list with 3 things on it, and you end the day with 3 more things on the same list. Who feels they're in chaos right now in their business? Can I just have a quick show of hands? Only a couple are willing to admit it, right? We know we're in chaos because chaos means we are running the treadmill like a little mouse, right? We're just chasing. We're looking for the next client. We're looking for the next dollar. We're chasing the money that wasn't paid, chasing the problems. We're constantly chasing. Now, to me, running a business in chaos is like trying to fill a bucket full of holes, right? You need to get back into control. And it's only then where you actually can grow, because trying to grow a business in chaos is literally growing chaos. And for those who live in chaos right now, when we talk about doubling or quadrupling your business, and the stress level just rises massively because you think, how can I grow something that's already chaotic? So chaos to control first and then into growth. And the third piece of the puzzle is then we leverage. Now, Johan mentioned leverage. He talked about strategic joint ventures. And he said an interesting thing that was commented in our chat room, which is don't joint venture with a business under 2 million. Now, that's a pretty bold statement to make, right? Because most of the businesses probably on this call are under 2 million. So how do I possibly fit into a world where people are 2 million plus when I'm under? Well, the short answer is this, right? You need to get your business house in order so that you become attractive as a joint venture partner. So there's multiple reasons. Greg talked about it. You need to build your business as if you're selling it. Because I think it was Michael Gerber, that once said, if you're not thinking about selling your business, you've bought it, right? If you're not thinking of selling your business, you've bought it. So whatever value it has right now, that's the price you paid. So I want you to think about, how do we do these three things? Now, when we talk about chaos to control, there are some elements in there. And the first one is simple. You know, when we talk about chaos to control, and I'm going to draw this because I like to be cool like Greg. Chaos to control, the very first thing that we need to do when we think about moving from chaos to control is we need to aspire, right? We need to think about what is it that we are building. Michael Gerber said a very, very pertinent statement. And if you do not have an answer, I want you to write down this question. The question is, what will my business look like when it's finished? What will my business look like when it's finished? Right? Now, for most people, they're going finished. I just started, right? I have no intention of finishing my business. Now, I want you to think about the builder analogy. I go to the builder and I say, I want you to build me a house. He goes, how many floors? I don't know. Just start, right? He goes, I cannot just start. You have to tell me how many floors so I can put the right foundation in. So you need to aspire and you need to think about your end result. What will my business look like when it's finished, or at least 5 or 10 years into the future? So the aspire part of the chaos to control is knowing what I'm building, right? The second part of this is that you need to have a plan. Now, I am not going to suggest you use a particular business planning template or anything like that. You work out how you do it, but it's not about the plan. It's about the planning. Right? You need to have a planning process. Any builders on this call? Anyone in the building industry? Can I have a show of hands of those guys? Anyone? No, maybe one. Here's what happens, right? If you think about how often a builder looks at a house plan when they're building, it's going to be every day. Every day they look at the plan before they cut a hole, before they cut a piece of wood, they look at the plan. In your business, if you're not looking at your business plan at least once a week, there's probably one of a couple of reasons. The first one is you don't have one. And the second one is that it's not directly relevant to what you're building. So people do business planning, they do it once a year, or when they start, they do a business plan, they stick it on the shelf. They don't actively use the plan as part of their direction on a daily basis. So not only do you have to create this vision of 5 years, you actually need to use the plan on a weekly basis to say, what should I build next? What is the next step? What does the next room look like? What is the color of the walls? How many PowerPoints will I put in that room? You need that plan in front of you. And if you do not have this happening regularly, you need to address why that is, right? Because without that plan in place, what happens is you have no real strategic direction in your business. You're just treading water. Now, the last thing that we need to do here is we need to do this thing called measure. Okay. There's an old builder's quote that says, measure twice, cut once, right? Now, if we measure in business, I don't just mean measure revenue. I don't mean just measure profit. I mean measure everything. Measure productivity. Measure number of leads, measure number of sales appointments, measure number of quotes, measure the return on investment for every dollar that goes out the door, right? You measure, you measure, you measure. Because when people say, should I use LinkedIn for marketing or should I use Facebook? I don't have an answer. My answer is measure it, right? Test one, see what results you get. If it works, do more. If it doesn't work, do less. Really simple stuff, right? But if you want to get out of chaos and you want to get into control, you need to have a vision, you need to have a plan, and you need to measure results. Everyone cool with this? Thumbs up if you're with me. Awesome. Let's go on to the next level. When you are out of chaos, you will start to see things move forward. Oh, by the way, one of my favorite quotes, Albert Einstein, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. We have a new market to play in. You can look at it one of two ways. You can say, I'm excited about this new market because it gives me opportunity to be successful. Or you can say, I don't know what to do. So you decide, right? The one thing I love about business the most is it's choose your own adventure. Right? You get to choose your own adventure. You get to pick which way you want to go. But if you don't define it, it defines you. So start learning where you want to go, where you want to take your business, get that vision in place and get moving. I want to talk about the growth phase for a moment. So once we've got the holes plugged in the bucket, we do need to grow the business. And I will tell you, there's 3 things that we need to do to grow a business, right? Now, the first one is that we need to market. There is no 2 ways about it. We need to attract. And I like that definition that Greg gave us, which is, I don't want to chase butterflies. I want to create a place where butterflies come. I want to attract high caliber clients. So I need to create something attractive about my business that makes people want to work with me, right? Now, they will hover around these butterflies, but butterflies hovering around is one thing. Getting them to convert to clients is a second thing. So not only do we need to attract high caliber prospects, we need to convert. Okay, so we need to know how to sell. And I'm not going to mince words around this. Most people in business do not know how to sell. Most people in business hate selling unless they're in the sales business. Who agrees with me on this? Hands up if you hate selling. Yep, at least half, right? Here's the funny thing, right? Every human being that communicates with another human being is in sales, right? If you're married, you're in sales, right? Who's married in this call? Yep, we're in sales, right? If you're single, you're in sales, right? If you've got kids, you're in sales, right? So let's face the fact, we're all in sales. We need to learn how to communicate better, and we need to learn how to convert these butterflies into business, right? So if we can think about growth, we've got to attract them, we've got to convert them. And the last piece of the puzzle for growth is you must deliver, right? When I say deliver, that means your product or your service has to fulfill or exceed the expectation of the client who's spending the money with you. Now, the reason you must deliver, especially in a socially connected world, is people are talking about you online all the time. They're either saying good things or bad things or no things. I want them to be saying good things about me. So I want to make sure that I over deliver. I want to make sure they get an impressive result when they spend money with me. Because when I deliver well, it does 2 things for me. It retains my clients, but it also means I get word of mouth, I get referral. And Johan talked about this. He gives $1,000 vouchers to everyone to make them lots of, make their clients happy and send them on good holidays. Awesome, right? Because people are going to talk about the holiday that Johan bought me, right? They're not going to talk about the 10% discount he gave me. Right? So we need to attract, we need to convert, and we need to deliver. And this is the hard yards. This is where you roll up your sleeves and you grow your business. Now, if it's chaotic and you try and do this, it's like building a 10-story building on a 1-story foundation. It's going to topple over and cause disaster, right? So get the chaos to control bit right. Then apply the accelerator to your growth. Spend money on marketing, invest it. We talk about marketing as being an investment. Greg touched on acquisition costs, right? You've got to acquire clients and you've got to pay for them. And there's nothing wrong with paying for them as long as you've got a positive return on your investment. And the only reason I've stopped spending money on marketing is when my capacity runs out. And that's when I focus in on delivery. Now, these are the 2 elements, chaos to control, then growth. And the last one that I really want to touch on before I do, another one of my favorite philosophers, Jim Rohn. Who knows this guy? Awesome, right? I met him in a book when I was 20 years old. And my favorite quote of all times was, never wish life were easier, wish you were better. Right? Because I can't control what happens. I can't control pandemics. I can't control wars. What I can control is me. I can control how I think, what I do, what my decisions are. So never wish life were easier, just wish you were better. Let's talk about that last piece of the pyramid, the top part, the leverage, right? One of my favorite words I ever learned in business is the word leverage. By definition, it means doing more with less. Right? When we talk about strategic alliances, that is leverage, right? When we talk about utilizing external resources, that is leverage. When we talk about a product or service that is provided without us having to do the work, that is leverage. And most people, that's their pipe dream. That's my business. I want to run a business where I can hang around sipping lattes all day, right? But they just don't, right? So what we've got to do is we've got to think about how do we leverage ourselves in business? Now, to me, leverage is simple, right? It has 3 components to it, once again. And the first one is that we need to learn to lead, right? We need to become the leader in our business, leadership, right? Now, leadership requires you to be clear on your direction, your vision. It requires you to inspire other people to want to join you on your mission or your cause, right? Your purpose. And it requires you to actually have a bit of grit, right? Because in a world where things are going pear-shaped, we need leaders. We need more leaders every single day. We do not have enough leaders, right? So leadership is a skill that you evolve as you grow, right? The second thing is, if you're a good leader, you are going to start attracting some high caliber people who want to do work with you. And so we need to make sure when we bring people in that we induct them, right? We need to induct them into our business. We need to enroll them into our mission. We need to enroll them into our vision. We want them to be part of our team. We want them to understand what we're trying to achieve, right? And the third piece of this puzzle is that we need to recruit. There's no two ways about it. We cannot build a business on our own. Those people who think they can do it on their own, they're not thinking correctly, right? Because not only do you need help, it could be subcontractors, it could be outsourced, it could be employees. You will grow your business faster, more effectively with other people, right? So you start to realize I need to lead, I need to induct people into my vision, and I need to recruit. I need to bring people onto my team. They're the three elements of leverage. Now, this is part joint venture. This is part building my team. This is part acquisition. And it's just all part of thinking, how do I leverage? How do I leverage? Doing more with less. Now, I've got a very short period of time today to share a lot with you, but I'm going to summarize it so that we've got it all in one piece. Another one of my favorite business philosophers, Bruce Lee. No one ever thought of him as a philosopher, but he said, if you ever get a chance, you Google this guy. He had some profound things he used to say. One of my favorite, actually I have this on a poster in the wall in the office, is knowing is not enough, we must apply. You can sit here this morning and you can listen to these guys talk about these principles all day long. But until you take those principles and apply them in your business, it's just words on pieces of paper or on the screen, right? Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do, right? So get into action after we finish this call today. So let's talk a bit about the three levels. I just want to summarize what I've covered here because it's been a lot in a very short period of time. The first one is chaos to control, right? We need to aspire. We need to have a vision, right? We need to have vision in our business, and you need to take the time to put this in writing, right? It's not just words out of your mouth. It's actually a vision document. You need to then plan how you're going to move towards that vision. You need to measure results. So you need to do the numbers as well, because one thing in business is the numbers do not lie. The second piece of this puzzle is growth, right? So we need to attract, we need to convert, we need to deliver, right? And this is the engine room of the business. This is where stuff gets done and money starts coming in and we start growing the momentum within our business. And then the final part is that we actually need to, define, right? We need to work out what it is. We need to train, we need to recruit, right? So we need to actually become a leader, define what we stand for. We need to then recruit and train our people into that as well. So I'm going to summarize this pretty simply. All of this whole thing of structure of how we grow a business starts with having a very clear vision of your business. I read a book last year, which was an amazing game changer for me. It was called Vivid Vision, and it was written by a guy by the name of Cameron Herold. And he did a TED talk as well on a similar topic. But what we did is we created a template that we use with clients, right? And we say, look, before you start your business, I want you to define where your business will be in 5 years' time. If you have unlimited time, unlimited money, everything goes as planned, what would your business look like? And this is starting with the end in mind, if anyone's read Stephen Covey. If you want to get a copy of this Vivid Vision document, I'm going to get Eugene to pump this into the chat box. There's a link there. There's a QR code on the screen for those who are high tech and like to use their phone. We use this document with every client who starts with us and say, listen, define where you see yourself in 5 years' time as minimum, right? And you have to think big, right? Because if you think small, you'll get small. If you think big and you only get halfway there, you'll still do all right out of it. So there is a link in the chat box for you guys who are interested in getting our Vivid Vision document. That'll download it for you. If you haven't got a written business plan, or if you haven't got your vision in writing, this is a great starting point. It's not complex. It's about a 4-page document. It does help you define what you stand for, where you want to go, and what your business will look like. And that is the foundation for business growth. So I'm going to wrap that one up there. I hope that that was pretty valuable to you, because sometimes people lose perspective, right? They lose perspective on where they are. And the truth is, if you're in chaos right now, be mindful that trying to build a chaotic business just creates more chaos. You know, you do need the systems in place, you do need the structure in place, but you need to plug the holes first, right? Get a grip of the business and get back in control. Because when you're in control, then the growth is inevitable. So I'm hoping that's been really useful for you guys. If you've got a chance, in the chat box, there is the link to get the Vivid Vision document for those who want it. I want to sort of keep the pace going, because probably the most important part of today's presentation is going to be Ildi, who's already put herself up on the screen. Awesome. Here's the thing, right? I'm a great believer in time management. But one of the things I learned is you don't manage time, you manage activities. And when you meet someone who's very analytical about how to do this, because I'll tell you now, time's your most valuable asset. There is nothing that can replace time. Money does not replace time, right? Money, if you lose it, you can get it back. Time, when it's gone forever. So meeting Ildi and working out that there's someone who actually digs deep into the psychology behind time management is amazing. So let's flick over to Ildi and let's get her to talk about the time mindset versus the time management, the new road to productivity. Ildi.
Thank you, David. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm not sure if I'm that analytical or not, but I will try definitely. And David has spoken my language with when he speaks about planning and the importance of actually looking at all the aspects of planning. But you might be wondering right now, so, okay, that's fantastic, but where do I find the time to actually do all this? And I did dived into this aspect just purely because it was a need for me, and you'll understand in a minute why. But before we even go there, I would love you to think about time a little bit, and I would love to reset the way that you look at time, because in the end, what is this thing called time? And I read a book about 8 years ago by Matthew Mikhailovich called Life in Half a Second. And as much as the book itself, it's about goal setting, and it talks about the stages of setting the right kind of goals that fit in your time and all those things. But what he does at the beginning of this book, he actually sets the scene and he resets the way that we look at time. And he puts time in a very interesting perspective, because what he says is that Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, give or take. If you start to think about humanity, that we've been around for pretty much 0.0044% of that time. Now, to give you a much more digestible perspective on that, let's assume that Earth is 1 year old. So if Earth is 1 year old, then humanity has been around for roughly 23 minutes. And as awkward as it sounds, a human life equals to half a second. And he asks this question in this book, and I've been asking this question to everyone who I met: what do you do with your half a second? And that kind of puts in a different perspective the value of time and what we do with our time. So who here wants to actually leave a footprint in this world? Who wants to leave something special behind? Most of us do. So it's really worth thinking about how short that time is, yet how long that time can be at the same time. So who am I? I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a time mindset specialist. And if you stalk me a little bit on LinkedIn, then you probably will find out a little more about my background and how I arrived here. What people don't know about me is that I'm a cartographer, and I'm a big believer on visual information and how can you use visual information to create tangible, usable plans that work. Because in the end, as human beings, we are visual. And yes, you might be wondering, oh, visual and time, how do they fit? But I do believe that you can create through careful planning and using a variety of different tools, amazing plans using and visualizing your time. I'm also an immigrant, and I was born in Transylvania as a Hungarian. And yes, that's a real place. And it's not just about vampires and other things. And as awkward as it sounds, I do think that I am someone who is missing the organized gene. And that kind of explains why I landed in this space. It was a need. I had to find a solution going through a divorce, where I had to up my game from paying for dance classes to actually paying all the bills. So I kept complaining about not having a decent planner, and one of my beautiful friends said to me, shut up and make one. So this is how my journey started towards better time management, better time mindset, because I found that creating a planner set me on the road to work out my own madness to what time management looks like for me. And I realized that just because you have a good tool, it doesn't mean that you really know what to do with it. So my own methodology was born. And as time went by, I kept asking myself, why is that we all look at time management tools? We can Google them, we can find them everywhere. There's amazing literature around it, yet so many of us still struggle with time management. And this is how I started to look at time and your relationship with time from a whole different perspective. And but before we go there, one of the biggest epiphanies for me was this little calculation. I mean, we kind of tend to think that we don't have enough time. So who thinks that we don't have enough time? By show of hands. Come on, there you go. The reality is that we have enough time, and it's simple maths, because we all have exactly the same 168 hours a week. And I was cheeky and I assumed that we sleep 8 hours a day. Who sleeps 8 hours a day, by the way? Not many, I'm guessing. I sleep about 6, but that's pretty much a need. But I assume that we have to rest for at least 8 hours a day. And why? Because neuroscience clearly states that if you're not doing that, then you are not able to actually work at peak. And then I made another very cheeky assumption, and I assumed that we only work 40 hours a week. Now, who works only 40 hours a week? By show of hand. Not many. So the reality is that 40 hours again has a bit of science behind it, because if you tap into neuroscience, you will find that we only have 4 to 6 peak hours of productivity a day. So pretty much everything that you do after that 6th hour will be more and more on the non-productive side of things. So it's really worth considering whether it's worth even doing the work or not, or whether you just have to find other ways to work around it. So in the end, the reality is that if you do the maths, then you will find that there's 72 hours for fun. And I mean, why not? I mean, let's work towards having those 72 hours for ourselves and to have a little bit of fun. So why do we still feel like time is slipping away? And you might be wondering what's happening there. But the reality is that when it comes to time is very personal. It's almost like talking about your underwear size when it comes to talking about your time management or time mindset. What I really want to point out that, again, going back to neuroscience, we have a special space in our brain that is responsible for how we see things. There's a special space in our brain that is responsible to how we hear things, and so on and so on. But we don't have a dedicated space in our brain that perceives time. Now, what this tells me is that all 7 billions of us on this earth, or roughly 7 billions of us on this earth, actually perceive time in a very unique and personal way. So every single one of us on this call will have a different idea, a different concept, a different perception of time. So why do we try to actually use the one-size-fits-all when it comes to time management? I do believe that classic time management is almost equals to trying to control time. Why? Because we are trying to use tools that are not necessarily resonating with us. They are not necessarily working in our favor. So I do believe that it is important to shift from this thinking and adopt a new kind of thinking, which is looking at time mindset rather than time management, because one size does not fit all. And you might be wondering then, okay, Ildi, what do I do? What do I take in consideration? How do I do this? And I do believe that one of the most important things that you will have to do is looking at behavior and time and the connection between our behavior and how we use time. What I mean by this is, there's about 4 major behavioral styles. We kind of tend to talk about personality profiling, but I do believe that we have to step away a little bit from that, because personality profiling boxes you, while behavior profiling shows you a way of how you function within those personality traits. And I'll give you just an example. Let's assume that you're an outgoing people person who loves a new project. I mean, you're that shiny object syndrome kind of person. You love the fast lane. You have a new idea every single day, and you, on the other side, you kind of end up saying, planning never works for me because it just doesn't work for me, you already made peace that goal setting and all those things that are coming with that side of things, time management and time in general, that's just a myth to you. Now, that if you look at it as from the perspective of a personality trait, you might actually box yourself and say, yeah, that's it. I can't do anything. It is what it is. I just have to work within my little box. What I love about behavior is that just because your main traits are like that, it doesn't mean that you can't act in a whole different manner. It doesn't mean that you can't be good at time management. It's just adopting classic time management tools and changing them, twisting them, turning them around, maybe breaking them into pieces if you need to, so that they work for you. In this case, let's say you break down your 1 hour block of work into tiny 10-minute blocks of work so that you can create variety in your day, because that's what works for you as a people person. So it's really finding exactly your own personal recipe to better time management, which in the end becomes your time mindset, your personal time mindset. And you know what? Even though if you might find yourself in a space where you will have to do systems and processes, it doesn't mean that you can't do it effectively. The only question in this equation is, what is the toll? What's the cost of playing in that space? And how will you take care of yourself so that you don't land in that burnout kind of space, or overwhelm, procrastination space? And there's ways to do it. But it all starts with that self-awareness. And you know what? Just another fun little fact, and then I'll move around. The reality is that if you are in that CEO kind of headspace, goal-getter, goal-setter, and so on, you are the only kind of person who actually makes 100% sense of that good old sentence, time is money. The rest of the world does not relate to that sentence. We all know it, but we don't really know what to do with it. So in the end, what is time mindset and why does it work? Well, as I mentioned before, once you create your own set of rules to better productivity, the reality is that it creates sustainable change. Once you take the tools that are at hand and you break them down and create something that actually works for you, you can create sustainable change, and you will be able to stick to your truth. It honors your individuality, and it allows you to shine, and it allows you to use your strengths and be aware of your weaknesses and get help where you need. Also, it makes you peak productive because you will tap into your strengths instead of just tagging along and sometimes working on a side that is not necessarily comfortable to you. And of course, it makes you happy and accomplished. And in the end, that's what we want. We really want to be happy and accomplished, because that's when life is worth living. But when it comes to the future road of productivity, I do believe that it's a combination. So it all starts with your individualized productivity styles. But when it comes to a team, and some of you might have teams or might work in teams, I do believe that bringing this individualized productivity style into a common team time language is essential, because when you do that, suddenly the whole team works together instead of working against each other. People will start helping each other, not stepping onto each other's toes. And suddenly time management is honored in a different way. So it's quite important to have that awareness around the individualized productivity styles within the teams. And I really want to touch base a little bit on that last sentence on that slide: better life-work harmony. Who wants more time for themselves? Who wants to live life at full? I mean, we all want these things. And I find that one of the biggest issues is that we all talk about work-life balance. Now, who heard this sentence at least once this past week? Come on. We all use it. We all talk about it. The problem with this sentence, work-life balance, is actually there's two problems with it. One, balancing is an act. We hate balancing. We are human beings. We like comfortable. And the second problem with it is that when did work become more important than life itself? It's a real issue. We end up working or living to work and not the other way around. So I'd much rather use the better life-work harmony, because that keeps me away from that balancing act. And of course, if you found a few nuggets in this past 15 minutes, I hope you did, and you would like to connect with me, I do offer a 45 minutes complimentary session to this whole group, and let's talk a little bit about how can we start you on that journey to better productivity, better time mindset instead of better time management, and let's make friends with our time.
Brilliant. Let's give Ildi a nice round of applause. Some awesome stuff. And I did not know she was from Transylvania. Can we just highlight all of the presenters, please, Eugene? We're just coming to a close, and I'm very mindful of time. We've got 5 minutes left on this call. What I'd like you to do is into the chat box, if you've had one or two things that have resonated with you as a result of this call, what is the one aha moment? What is the one thing you're most excited about? Let's get those into the chat box as I get Johan to close off today.
For sure. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. And as you know, we love to give you different experiences. We built this so that you can get ideas into our business, into all of our businesses. I mean, I learn as much from these sessions as you guys do. We want to give you access to deals that you can make within each other. I want you to meet amazing people. This is people that you don't actually get to meet in your day-to-day lives, and strategies that you can implement into your business right now that are working. And so this brings us all motivation, and really success is shared. So I love hearing the stories. I love watching, all the deals that are happening. There's deals happening in my chat right now where people are talking about, oh my God, thank you, that was great. I met so-and-so. So thank you so much for everyone for your time, for being here. And I'm glad that you got so much out of it. And every week we're just striving to make this better and better and better so that you get so much out of this mastermind. And thank you so much, David. You're amazing. You're an amazing host. I was messaging the team going, how awesome is David? He's so cool. And he got the music and everything. I love it.
So, Johan, just for your group, we run these events almost every month. We run a number of these events. We're looking for presenters all the time. So our strategic alliance process is about getting together with like-minded people and sharing our intellectual property, our knowledge, right? And sharing our content with our team. So if anyone's interested in doing events with us, just let them reach out as well.
For sure. And look, we only introduce you to awesome people, and David's an awesome person.
So going back to, look, we got 4 presenters on the screen right now. There are some, Eugene's been consistently putting in the links to get the information from Ildi, book a time with Ildi. Funnily enough, booking a time with Ildi is probably the best time you'll ever invest, right? Get Greg's book, right? Greg spent a lot of time putting and thought into his process. It's awesome. And the joint venture thing, that's always been magical to me. That's the ultimate leverage for business. So please make sure you get those. And also the Vivid Vision document, of course. Take those things, get some actions done, change the way you think about business, and let's see some success in 2022. Awesome. Guys, thanks so much. And thanks to Eugene also in the background. David sort of said that as well. He's been managing diligently getting people into breakout rooms and out.
Thank you, Eugene, Walt, Chris, Mike, everybody in the background who's doing what they do so that we can do what we do. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.